He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
I can tell you I've seen video after video after video, and I've experienced it firsthand in my own life. Toddlers do not have to be taught to lie. Nope, they do it all on their own. From the minute they start talking, you can ask them, "Did you do this?" And they'll say, "Nope, I didn't do it." You can find videos all over Facebook and every other form of social media and every America's Funniest Home videos where the kid is covered in icing and the cupcakes or the birthday cake is destroyed. And when you ask them, "Did you do this?" they'll tell you no. All the evidence is clear, but they will still tell you no. No good dad has to teach his child to be deceptive. You don't have to teach them to be liars. That's natural. There is something else that a good dad does, though, and that's what I want to talk about today on Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. And I can tell you in all the time that I've been dealing with kids, which has been most of my life, I know that little people don't have to be taught how to lie. It seems to come natural to them. You never actually demonstrate a lie for them. They just do it. But instead, rather than allow them to simply lie and get away with it, there's got to be some kind of framework built by the parents, and a good dad knows how to build that framework both gently in love and definitively using the borders or the boundaries or the gateways of discipline. We talked in this series about what it means to build the chute, train them in the way they should go, like the chute that takes the bull or the sheep or the horse into the back of the trailer rather than letting them roam wild in the field and hope eventually they end up in the trailer. Disciplining a child in truth means also helping them to discover what's true and helping them to decidedly choose for truth rather than the lie. Now, there's a real challenge in that. There are going to be times that telling the truth is, well, it's painful. There are going to be times that telling the truth is costly, that admitting that you did something wrong might get you disciplined or have consequences to follow that you don't choose for yourself, things that you don't want to be true in your life. But when you pursue the truth, it also is another one of those hedges on either side of your life that pursuing the truth kind of gives you an idea of what the boundaries are. It makes it more obvious that there are consequences that you expose yourself to when truth is not what you're choosing. When you're choosing to be deceptive, when you're choosing to be dishonest, when you're choosing to do things that, although they come natural, they're not beneficial. Although they come natural, they're not beneficial. See, there are a whole lot of things that come naturally to us. An example would be an addiction to the wrong kind of foods. If you buy those little gummy fruit snacks, I find myself easily addicted to those things if I'm not careful. It's a little package of maybe 8 or 10 little gummy fruit snacks, and they're yummy. They're just fake flavors of, I don't know, real fruit of some sort. But they're sweet, and they're chewy, and they're funny, and they kind of stick to your teeth, and they're fun. And if you give 3 packages of those to a toddler, they will eat every one of them. In fact, they will get so addicted to them, they will eat the entire box if you let them. Well, that's not a good thing. But pursuing that addiction or that fascination or that choice to have those gummies, well, there's nothing good to come of that because they're going to rot your teeth. They're going to cause all kind of medical problems. They're not good for your blood pressure or your cavities or your diabetes. Nothing. There's nothing good to come of them. They might tide you over if you're hungry in a moment, or if your sugar's crashing and you are diabetic. But if that's all you eat, there's nothing good to come of that. Young people don't make those decisions well on their own, especially little bitties, toddlers, and 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 and 12-year-olds. They don't make good decisions all on their own. That's what parenting is about. We know that they will make decisions. Sometimes they will make those decisions just purely on a selfish basis of, it feels good to me, it tastes good to me, I wanted to do it, so I did it, and they don't care that there are consequences that might hurt them or they might hurt somebody else. They don't pay any attention to that. They know in the moment, I wanted to do it, so I did it. If we as parents, as good dads, don't set those parameters like the chutes to say, you've got to stay within the realm of what's good, not just for your feelings, for your emotions, for your desires for the moment, but what's good for your own life in the future and what's good for the people around you. Are you choosing only because you like it? Do you even care what it does to impact other people around you? If you eat all of the cookies, are you okay that nobody else got any cookies? Do you care about that? See, those are the kinds of things that a good dad has to chime in on and go, okay, well, it's bad enough that you're going to be 9,000 pounds before you're 10 because you've eaten every cookie in sight, and the dentist is going to have a field day pulling all your teeth out. But in addition to that, I didn't get any cookies. Your brothers didn't get any cookies. Your sister didn't get a cookie. You didn't share cookies with anybody. You didn't share at all. And see, that's the natural bent of a child with no correction. They will do what feels good to them and them alone, and they don't care what anybody else thinks of it. If they're not corrected in that, they will naturally be liars. They will naturally be selfish. They will naturally be self-protective to the point of being mean. It's natural. It's the human condition. And if you think I'm kidding, just watch a bunch of toddlers who are not oversighted, not being watched themselves by an adult who is providing correction. Turn a bunch of them loose and watch how they poke each other and hit each other. And it's their natural reaction. From the time they're old enough to scoot across the floor, they know the word mine. And mine is the first expression of selfishness. It's the first time they get to say, you don't get it, I get it. It's not for you. Here's the worst part. And it will happen. If you watch closely enough, you'll see it. Take a toddler or go to a place where a toddler is visiting. Find a toy that doesn't belong to the toddler, it belongs to another child, and let the toddler play with it for a minute. And watch how quickly they both claim it. They'll both take that toy and yell, mine, and viciously hold on to possession of that toy without sharing it. They don't want to share it, even if it's not theirs. Even if they took it by force or took it by meanness, they will claim it and they will yell mine and they will not give it back. You don't have to train them to do that. That selfishness is natural in them. What I'm trying to say is that as a good dad, you've got to lead your children to the direction of truth so that they decidedly choose the truth. They choose what's good for everybody. They choose what's right. That's called a moral compass. It's called a moral compass. And without a moral compass, at least something to direct the path, like the chute for the bulls, the horses, the cows, the sheep, whatever you want to call them, that directional path that has a right and a left, and out of bounds and an inbounds, a good sense of direction to get them to the goals that they want to go to and that you want to direct them to. Without those things, they will wander around in the pasture of life. Like a bunch of sheep with no fences, they will wander wherever they want to. And if you haven't noticed, sheep tend not only to wander, but they will follow other wanderers. Yeah, and kids do the same thing. It's natural in them. If you take 20 sheep and you turn them loose in a pasture, one of them will decide, hey, I want to go this way. And this way may be good for 100 yards, but there's a cliff over there. That sheep doesn't care. He doesn't know. He'll just wander until he can't wander anymore. And if that means falling off the cliff, sorry. The worst part, though, is the other 19 sheep will follow the one that's walking off the cliff. Maybe you've heard your parents ask you the question, well, if your friends jump off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge too? If I was a sheep, yes, I would, because they're that dumb. They really are that dumb. They will follow the leader who's going the wrong way and not stop following until their ultimate demise. They are that dumb. That's why they need a shepherd. Young children tend to follow peer pressure in the same way. From the time they're 2 years old and they can at least grasp that somebody else is doing something that they might enjoy, they're going to start to mimic it and follow it and do what the other person is doing. Until they're in their 20s and 30s, maybe 25-ish, when that prefrontal cortex kicks in and they realize, hey, there are consequences to stupid behavior. Stupid is expensive. Making bad choices, that's going to cost you. You've got to make good choices. Well, if you've got 25 years of history of making bad choices, it might be a little late now. You might already be living in the consequences called jail. You might already be living in the consequences called teen pregnancy or homelessness or suicidal thoughts and self-harm. See, all of these are the consequences of a series of bad choices. Dad doesn't have to teach his child to be a liar. That's natural. So are many bad choices. But a good dad knows how to set those parameters and say, let's expose you to truth. Even if it's costly, even if telling the truth has consequences, I want you to understand the long-term benefits of understanding the truth, the long-term benefits of telling the truth, because it's also going to help you make better decisions on the front end so you don't have to lie about them later. That's where most people get in trouble. They do what comes naturally up front. Mine, selfishness, destructiveness, violence. They solve every problem by smacking the other kid. They solve every problem by violently taking away what they want, or stealing it, or hiding it, or in the worst case scenario, and you've probably seen this, they'll destroy the something just so nobody can have it if they can't have it. Well, all of those behaviors start early on. All of those behaviors are natural unless they're corrected out, and all of those behaviors will lead to destruction later in life if they're not corrected early on. If all I have to decide what's good for me, what's right for me is, quote, my truth and my feelings, the rest of the world is in trouble. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to get what makes me feel good, and I don't care how it impacts you. I don't care how it makes you feel. I don't care about any of that. See, that's what dads have to correct. Dads have to point out where those decisions are going to impact others that they care about. And when they realize that if I make that decision, not only is it wrong now, but I'll have to lie about it later, and it's probably going to hurt somebody else. You don't have to teach them to be a liar. You don't have to teach them to be selfish. You don't have to teach them to be mean. All that is natural. What you have to teach them is how to decidedly seek, pursue, and live in the truth. That moral compass will do them more value than letting them enjoy their feelings all of their life. For the long term, it's going to be much better in the payoff. In the short term, sure, there's going to be consequences. There might be a little punishment. There might be a little discipline. But those things are necessary if you want the long term to be healthy. Dads, it's a challenge. It's hard to discipline a young child because their reaction is usually a massive overreaction. It's hard to tell them no when they're not supposed to be doing something. It's hard to discipline them when what they're doing is hilarious but destructive. But if you're a good dad, that's what you do. So I challenge you as a good dad, lead them to the truth. Lead them early on to make decisions that are better for their long-term future and not their immediate satisfaction. Teach them to be honest by punishing the lie, even though the lie is natural. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.